Warning, some viewers may find the following footage distressing, and I'm going to use that warning for this entire video. Alright, at the very end of 2020 in Yemen, at least 26 people have been killed after an attack on Aden International Airport. The attack seemed to target a plane carrying members of Yemen's newly formed government. A second attack hit the city's Mashik Palace, where the cabinet members had been taken following the airport incident. No person or group has taken responsibility for the attacks. Now over to Kashmir for something that happened on the same day.
Next story we're tracking from Jammu and Kashmir. Hours after security forces claimed to have killed 3 terrorists in an encounter on the outskirts of Srinagar, the families of the killed families of those who've been killed have alleged that innocent youth, including the son of a police official, have been killed and claim that the encounter was staged. Now, one of those killed is a teenager, a class 11 student. The police say the operation was carried out by the army and they later rushed to the spot. The police has also issued a statement claiming that all 3 were terrorists, but they were not listed as terrorists in the police records.
Alright, as you would imagine, the Myanmar genocide on the Rohingya Muslims caused a lot of them to flee, and so hundreds of thousands of them ended up in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh straight up copied Australia with their handling of.
Bangladesh started moving a second group of Rohingya refugees to a low-lying island in the Bay of Bengal on Tuesday, despite opposition from rights groups worried about the new site's vulnerability to storms. Some clutching ducks, pigeons and chickens in bamboo baskets, others wearing orange life vests and masks against the coronavirus. The nearly 2,000 refugees were taken on 5 boats from a refugee camp on the border to Bhasan Char, an island which only emerged from the sea 20 years ago and is prone to flooding. The measure has sparked criticism from rights groups which allege that people are being moved against their will. Foreign Minister Abdul Momen has dismissed concerns about the island's safety and accused groups of spreading negative propaganda about people being forced. The government has built a 7.5-mile-long embankment to protect the island from regular storms, as well as housing for 100,000 people. Reuters is withholding the names of refugees going to the island because of the controversy surrounding the relocation, with many refugees keen to stay on the mainland and opposed to the move. The Rohingya are a Muslim minority ethnic group which fled Myanmar for Bangladesh in 2017 following a military-led crackdown. Since then, they've been living in overcrowded and squalid camps in Cox's Bazar. The United Nations says it hasn't been involved in the relocation and urged the government not to force people to move.
They travelled more than 1,000 kilometers to find jobs in one of the most dangerous places to live and work in Nigeria. They ended up in the hands of Boko Haram, bound and then slaughtered. 43 victims laid to rest in this cemetery.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. You can see 43 dead bodies here. Up to now, there are some bodies that are yet to be recovered from the bush. Indeed, it is a frightening situation.
A search is being carried out for dozens of others who are missing, but most are presumed dead. 6 survivors are being treated in hospital for serious injuries. The state governor is turning to local vigilante groups for help.
We shall ensure more recruitment of civilian JTF and more hunters so that our people will take the fight to all the nooks and crannies of this area.
The farm workers were contracted to harvest crops some 25 kilometers away from the city of Maiduguri. The manner they were killed suggests the attackers were careful not to attract attention. Last month, the armed group killed 22 farmers in 2 separate attacks outside the regional capital, Maiduguri.
The president has issued a statement condemning the recent attack. But after a decade of such raids by Boko Haram and the ongoing ethnic violence, kidnappings and robberies, many Nigerians say the government is not doing enough to protect them.
The United Nations resident representative issued a statement condemning the attack, saying many women had also been abducted. An estimated 36,000 Nigerians have been killed by Boko Haram over the past 11 years. And more than 2.5 million have been displaced.
Security forces are obviously losing this war, And this particular attack and others we have seen in the last 8 months or so were attacks that are the product of the security forces' own strategy. Last year, which is 2019, was the deadliest year for security forces in Nigeria since the Boko Haram war started.
For many years, the Nigerian government had been claiming victory over Boko Haram, but the armed group continues to attack both civilian and military targets with devastating results. This latest is one of the worst since the start of the Boko Haram insurgency that was launched 12 years ago and has now spread to neighboring Chad, Cameroon and Niger, where thousands of civilians and security personnel have been killed. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Abuja.
And the final one, back over to Kashmir.
Indian police on Sunday accused an army officer and 2 associates of planting weapons on the bodies of 3 laborers killed in Kashmir, to make it look as though they were militants in a staged gun battle. The July deaths sparked a furore in the Indian-administered side of the Himalayan region that is also claimed by Pakistan. A police statement issued late Sunday said the officer and 2 others planted illegally acquired weapons and material on their dead bodies after stripping them of their identities and tagged them as hardcore terrorists in possession of warlike stores. Following the investigation, the bodies of the 3 slain men were exhumed in September and returned to their families after DNA tests.